Well, hey everybody, Michael here once again. Welcome to the YouTube channel for the global documentary series about urbanism, the life-size city. You might have heard me say that a few times, but welcome. Today I want to take you on a little trip to Detroit. There is a lot of talk in my industry all over the world about the very important issue of food security. What we don't hear about as much is water security. And this is an issue that the city of Detroit struggles with. Detroit has a water system that was originally designed for 2 million people. Now, there are only 700,000 people in the city, and somebody is paying for that. Unfortunately, it is the low-income part of the population. When I was filming in Detroit, I was told that if somebody owes more than $100 on their water bill, the city turns off their water. And this is something that happens to far too many people in the city. Ironically, some of the stadiums downtown, the hockey arena downtown, they owe like $500,000 in their water bills and nobody's turning off the water for them. This is a massive example of shocking inequity. But like in all the other cities that I have filmed the life-size city in, somebody has a solution. And this person in this episode, man, she works so hard to provide water for the people who've had their water turned off. I'm going to let her do all the explaining when you watch this segment in a few seconds here. But man, she is one of the people that I have interviewed that has just moved me the most. And here's a fun little secret. When we were filming with her, this segment in Detroit, she delivered just this most amazing monologue at the end of the shooting. And right after that, it was cut. We had what we needed. And I completely choked up. And we were done that shoot. I turn around and the crew also all have tears in their eyes. That's what this woman you're about to see does to people with her love, her passion, and her drive to make things better in the city of Detroit. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let's go. I can't wait for you to see this segment.
The work being done here is precious, and that's necessary in a city that desperately needs leadership. The municipality has far too often neglected its citizens, even with providing basic vital services like access to water. It's a huge challenge to maintain a 360 square kilometer water network. With the population decline, about 700,000 taxpayers are essentially paying for a system that was built for 2 million people, and the price of water has skyrocketed. Today, in a city with over 40% of its population living in poverty, many can't even afford water.
So what's the scale of the problem here in Detroit? How many people have had their water cut off and how many people are scheduled to have it turned off, as it were?
Well, since 2014, you've had over 100,000 households shut off from water.
Get out.
And what the water department estimates is there is anywhere from 2.7 to 3 people per household. So you're looking at about 300,000 people or more shut off from water. And then in this year alone, we're looking at between 17 and 18,000 households shut off. So you're also looking at another additional 40 to 50,000 people shut off from water.
Monica Lewis Patrick co-founded We the People of Detroit, a collective of activists, researchers, academics, and, well, regular citizens working together to ensure social justice and human rights. They raise funds, collect and distribute water, assist people with their water bill payments, and advocate for a more equitable system. They are doing everything they can to fight this outrageous crisis.
A lot of folks who are out here struggling around water, they already feel disconnected and isolated, and for some people, it makes them feel shamed. So it becomes really important not just to drop the water off, but to say, yo, how you doing, you know?
In 73 hours, if you don't have running water, you lose custody of your children, and you can also lose your property. To get your water shut off in the city of Detroit, you only need to owe a bill of $150 or more. and be 30 days in the rear to have your water shut off.
That's it.
But you've got corporations that owe millions of dollars. Say, for instance, the state of Michigan owes the city of Detroit $5 million just on the state fairground properties alone. $2 million on Dexter Elmhurst recreational facility. So just on 2 properties, they owe Detroit $7 million, and they were able to have their debt renegotiated and much of it forgiven during the bankruptcy. And the list goes on and on. The city golf course, over $440,000 in unpaid water bill.
So you began to see that this stuff makes no sense, and it's not about a real emergency around water. It's emergency around greedy folks getting paid and people who really need water and really need to take care of themselves not being able to get the resources that they need. Folks are trying to cover their utilities, cover their rent, cover their health expenses and all those kinds of stuff, and then you're gonna cut off the water and act like that's okay. Come on.
We, the people of Detroit, runs 4 distribution centers where people can get free water. They also deliver to those who don't have access to transport. Over the course of a year, they can distribute up to 200 tons of water to citizens in need.
How you doing? Just bringing and dropping off the water today. You doing all right?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
No problem. I'm just helping these guys. They're doing the work. How long? When did you get your water turned off?
It's been almost a year.
About a year. Wow.
Yeah. It was a crazy set of circumstances. It just went haywire fast.
Yeah. But it's haywire for a lot of people in Detroit, huh?
Yeah. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm hearing.
So that's not a bad thing, getting some water from
No,
from these
actually,
good
this
folks.
is a blessing.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Cinnamon. You get back. Move. Yeah,
And Cinnamon needs
she
water
waiting on the
too.
water too.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Cinnamon needs water too.
Yeah. What other options would you have if you couldn't get water from We the People?
A couple of times I had to go try to get water from other people's water holes from their house.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have a car anymore, so it just made it impossible to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't walk 5 miles with 5 gallons of water. It just wasn't feasible.
Antoinette's story is, sadly, all too common in this city. But Monica and her organization are working hard towards a long-term solution. They're pushing for a water affordability plan and urging the city to adopt and implement it.
What we've got to decide is, as communities and as humanity, are we willing to ensure that every human life has access to this life-sustaining resource called water? The water affordability plan being put in place would mean that everybody would pay into the system. It's just low-income people would be able to pay into the system what they could afford. And what the recommendations are is that poor people should not be paying more than 3.5 to 4.7% of their income to access water. On average in Detroit, you have low-income families paying anywhere from 10% of their income upward.
Wow.
To access water. And that's why you see so many houses without the water. It's because the water is unaffordable. Water costs have gone up 126% over the last 10 years. And so what we're saying needs to happen is people can actually pay a limited amount on the bill and be able to maintain water access, and therefore there's water and sanitation for everybody. Nobody's water is off, and the actual system recovers more money by making it affordable.
This narrative of a brand new Detroit, and this is the model for how you turn around a city. You can't turn around a city if you're gonna throw half of your people to the dogs. You just can't do that. And so yes, we got to be out here working on water, we got to be out here working on air, we out here working on a multiplicity of issues.
As Monica went around the city, she noticed dozens of houses connected to the one house that had water.
When you see the water hoses running from house to house, I would just cry from house to house seeing that kind of devastation. And the young people were able to reframe it and say, Mama Monica, look at it differently. Look at that as our own pipeline of belovedness in Detroit, where we are willing, even with those that have very little, to share the little that we have to create a lifeline for somebody else. Regardless of the brokenness and the glass and the debris, there is this deep connectedness and infrastructure of belovedness that we not only love each other, we dearly love each other in Detroit.